Good morning and welcome back to another episode from Virtualize Everything. Today I thought it might be fun to take a look at Proxmox 8 and exactly the text-based installation wizard that came with the new Proxmox 8 ISO. So the Proxmox team developed a text-based installer, and that installer is supposed to eliminate some of the problems that certain systems had with their graphical installer. Let's go ahead and start this installation here by just hitting our down arrow so that we select the install Proxmox V console line and press enter. And if you get this message, you should be a little bit more wary of it than I am. I know that I'm virtualized right here so that I best demonstrate this installation for you, and I'm not very worried about it. But in your case, if you actually plan on using Proxmox for anything, you probably should go ahead and check your BIOS and verify that your system supports virtualization. Alright, so the first thing we're seeing here is the EULA, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the red box is over I agree and press enter. And it's asking me the target disk. I have only one disk in here, so that's going to be the target disk we're going to use. But if we hit the up arrow and select advanced options, you can see that we have a little bit more configuration stuff, and it's asking for the minimum LVM space, and so we can actually configure what disk sizes here. So now if you wanted to actually change the file system, and you can see here that we're set up by default to use LVM, and that's really the default style of partitioning and disk usage that Proxmox comes with, is we can go up here to file system and you can see where it says ext4. If we press enter here, we can actually select either XFS or ZFS, or ButterFS. And I'm noticing ButterFS actually now is also not marked as developmental. So this is how you would set up RAID. If you wanted to use a single drive and not use RAID, of course there's some options in here too. But for a single drive, the best use is ext4 here and LV in my opinion. Now if we go down here, we can go ahead and press OK now, and we're back at our normal drive. And since we're using LVM, we're just going to go ahead and press next and enter. And it's going to ask us for our country. Make sure that you set the right time zone and language and whatnot, and then you can make sure that red box is again over next and press enter. It's going to ask you to set up the root password, and I can jump to the next line by just hitting tab. And it'll usually error out if we leave it valid, so we'll just call it something like that. Now, if you do indeed have email set up and everything, that might be a good choice. I don't, so we're just going to leave it as some default. I'm hitting tab again. It's going to auto select abort, and I'm going to press the arrow keys and move to next. Now it's going to want to know the IP address that we want to install the server on. This is what's given to it from my HCP server as default, and I'm going to go ahead and use it for setup. So now it's just asking us to verify our configuration settings, and we can hit the over arrow and install. Alright, so as you can see now, Proxmox is up and running. So let's get a web browser up and going here, and we can take note of this IP address here that we can see in the background. And we're going to go https:// and now here at this screen we can go ahead and press advanced, and we can scroll down and we can accept the risks and continue, and we log in with root and the password that we set up during the installation. Go ahead and hit OK at this point. Alrighty, so let's now come over here and select our server and come down and select repositories. And let's go ahead and select this enterprise repository, press disable. And I do have it right here, but I want to show you how we added it in. Let's press add. We'll select OK here and come down here and select no subscriptions and press add. That's going to go ahead and add a line fine here. We're also going to disable this enterprise one for Seth. Now we should be good to come up here to updates, and you can see we already have some updates. But let's go ahead, hit refresh, and click OK. And you can see that we're looking at all the different URLs and reading our packages, and we're good. Now we can close out this screen, and we do have some updates. To go ahead and install those updates, we're going to press upgrade here, and then we're going to press Y to answer yes to the question, and the system's going to go ahead and automatically install those updates. And now that we've returned back to this root at PVE, or whatever the server name is, in most cases PVE is the default, the installation process of the updates is finished. So you can close this window, and you'll notice that they still show up over here. It's kind of a little confusing. If you refresh the browser window, they'll go away. So now that we've learned how to add the no subscription repository and been able to do updates to Proxmox, I'm going to conclude this how to install Proxmox with the text installation tool video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to help VE grow. As always, have a good morning.